Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to reflect on a topic that's not just about identifying traits in others, but also about evaluating ourselves to become better human beings. The term stupid often carries a harsh and judgmental tone, but today, let's approach this with grace and understanding. It's not about belittling anyone. It's about recognizing behaviors that can limit growth and success and learning how to move beyond them. What holds people back isn't their lack of intelligence or potential. It's their unwillingness to step out of harmful habits and mindsets. Identifying these signs can help us grow into wiser, more compassionate individuals who navigate life with humility and strength. Life is a journey of growth and discovery, and one of the most valuable traits we can cultivate is the willingness to learn. Yet there are those who resist this process, clinging tightly to what they know, refusing to entertain new ideas or perspectives. This refusal to learn isn't just a minor flaw. It's a roadblock that keeps people stuck in the same patterns, unable to move forward. Imagine standing in front of an open door to a brighter future, but choosing to stay in a dark room because it feels familiar. That's what happens when we refuse to learn. Embracing knowledge requires humility, the ability to acknowledge that you don't know everything. Some resist this because they fear appearing weak or inadequate. But the truth is that admitting you don't know something is a sign of strength. It shows you're willing to grow, to evolve, to become more than you were yesterday. Refusing to learn, on the other hand, is like choosing to stay on a sinking ship when you have a lifeboat within reach. It might feel safe in the moment, but ultimately, it leads to ruin. This mindset often stems from pride or insecurity. Pride convinces us that we already have all the answers, while insecurity makes us fear the vulnerability that comes with admitting we don't. But the irony is that both attitudes rob us of the opportunity to become better versions of ourselves. Growth is impossible without change, and change begins with learning. Refusing to learn doesn't just affect the individual, it impacts those around them. It creates a ripple effect of missed opportunities, broken relationships, and stagnant environments. Think about it. When someone refuses to learn in their workplace, they not only hinder their own progress, but also hold back their team. When they refuse to learn in their personal life, it creates walls between them and their loved ones. Walls that could have been bridges if only they were open to new ideas. Learning isn't just about acquiring information, it's about transformation. It's about allowing new knowledge to challenge your assumptions, stretch your understanding, and inspire you to act differently. It's about becoming more compassionate, more skilled, more effective in all areas of life. It's about realizing that no matter how much you know, there's always more to discover. But here's the good news. It's never too late to change. Even the most stubborn among us can choose to take that first step toward growth. It might mean picking up a book, seeking advice, or simply listening more than you speak. It might mean admitting that you've been wrong and committing to doing better. That first step might feel uncomfortable, but it's the discomfort of growth, not failure. When you choose to learn, you choose to move forward. You choose to break free from the chains of ignorance and step into the light of understanding. And that choice, as simple as it seems, can transform not only your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. A common sign of a lack of wisdom is engaging in constant negativity. Negative people drain energy not only from themselves, but from everyone around them. It's not just about having a bad day or facing challenges. That's part of life. It's about the persistent, relentless focus on what's wrong, what could go wrong, or what hasn't worked out. This mindset doesn't just impact the individual. It creates a ripple effect, influencing relationships, opportunities, and environments in deeply harmful ways. Negativity is like a fog that clouds vision. It blinds people to the possibilities and blessings right in front of them. It's easy to find something to complain about. Life isn't perfect. But dwelling on what's wrong instead of seeking solutions or appreciating what's right creates a cycle of despair. Imagine trying to climb a mountain with a backpack full of stones, each one representing a negative thought. You never make it to the top because you're weighed down by things you've chosen to carry. What's important to recognize is that negativity is often rooted in fear or insecurity. When people feel they can't control their circumstances or fear failure, they start focusing on what's wrong as a form of self-protection. But here's the truth: negativity doesn't protect, it paralyzes. It doesn't prepare you for success, it ensures you'll never reach it. The focus on failure, disappointment, and problems becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This mindset also isolates people. Nobody enjoys being around constant complaints, criticism, or pessimism. Over time, negative individuals find themselves alone, not because others don't care, but because negativity is exhausting to endure. Relationships require encouragement, hope, and mutual support, things that cannot coexist with persistent negativity. The path out of negativity begins with gratitude. When you focus on what's going right, no matter how small, you shift your perspective. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to negativity because it reminds you of what you have rather than what you lack. It's a discipline, not a feeling. Something you choose to practice even when it doesn't come naturally. The more you practice gratitude, the more your mindset changes. You begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth and setbacks as stepping stones to success. Another key to breaking free is surrounding yourself with positive influences. When you spend time with people who uplift, encourage, and inspire you, their energy becomes contagious. Positive people don't ignore reality. They simply choose to focus on solutions instead of problems, on hope instead of despair. Their perspective can teach you how to do the same. Remember that negativity is a habit, and like any habit, it can be changed. It requires intentional effort and self-awareness. When you catch yourself dwelling on the negative, pause and redirect your thoughts. Ask yourself, what's one good thing about this situation? What's one step I can take to improve it? Over time, these small shifts will lead to a transformed mindset. Negativity may seem powerful, but it has no real strength. Its hold on you is only as strong as you allow it to be. By choosing gratitude, seeking positivity, and actively working to change your thoughts, you can break free and embrace a life filled with hope, opportunity, and joy. One of the surest ways to recognize someone who is not operating in wisdom is their tendency to be overly defensive. Instead of being open to feedback, suggestions, or correction, they see any input as a personal attack. They build walls instead of bridges, cutting themselves off from opportunities to grow and improve. Being defensive stems from insecurity, the need to always appear right, or an inability to admit mistakes. It's not a mark of strength, but a sign of a mindset that is stuck and unwilling to embrace change. When someone is defensive, they miss out on the incredible value of constructive criticism. Wisdom teaches us that correction is not rejection. It's an opportunity to refine and become better. It's a gift from others who care enough to share their perspective. But when a person's focus is only on shielding themselves from perceived attacks, they block the very things that could lead them toward success, stronger relationships, or a better understanding of life. Defensiveness doesn't just affect the person exhibiting it, it impacts everyone around them. It creates tension, stifles open communication, and discourages others from sharing their honest thoughts. Relationships can wither when one person is always on guard, ready to argue or justify their actions rather than humbly listening and engaging. Those around such a person may start to feel as though their words don't matter or that their opinions are dismissed. In the end, it creates a lonely and isolating space, even in a room full of people. The root of this behavior often lies in pride. Pride whispers that admitting fault is a sign of weakness. It convinces people that their identity is tied to being right or flawless. But the truth is, there's power in humility. Being able to say, I didn't see it that way. Thank you for pointing it out, shows a strength of character that wins respect and admiration. It shows you're secure enough to grow and mature through the insights of others. Wisdom requires us to let go of the need to defend every action or decision. It challenges us to recognize that learning and growth often come through moments of discomfort. When someone points out a blind spot, it may sting, but it can also heal and guide if received with the right heart. Wisdom teaches us to pause before reacting, to seek understanding, and to respond with grace instead of combativeness. Life isn't about proving ourselves at every turn. It's about improving ourselves. And that improvement often comes when we're willing to lay down our defenses and embrace the lessons disguised as criticism. A wise person learns to ask, what can I take from this to become better? Instead of building barriers that keep them stuck in the same. The journey to wisdom begins with the willingness to be teachable. A teachable heart is open, secure, and unafraid of admitting imperfection. It understands that the path to greatness isn't about never making mistakes. It's about learning from them, adapting, and moving forward. So let go of defensiveness and watch how life opens doors you never thought possible. One of the most telling signs of a lack of wisdom is when someone engages in constant criticism of others. This behavior not only reflects a deep insecurity, but also reveals an inability to see beyond one's own limited perspective. Criticizing others becomes a shield for those who are unwilling to address their shortcomings. They deflect attention from their own challenges by pointing out the flaws of others, creating an illusion of superiority. But this habit doesn't build, it breaks. It doesn't uplift, it tears down. Constant criticism often stems from a need to feel important or validated. People who do this may think that by highlighting someone else's mistakes, they're elevating themselves. But the truth is, criticizing others excessively only diminishes your character in the eyes of those around you. It creates an atmosphere of negativity, pushing people away rather than drawing them closer. The sooner you begin to see Jesus, the faster you will begin to see Jesus on behalf of you and others. Relationships, whether personal or professional, thrive on encouragement and understanding, not on nitpicking and judgment. Criticism is not always wrong. There's a constructive way to address issues, but it's all about intention and delivery. Constructive feedback is rooted in a desire to help, to improve, and to nurture growth. On the other hand, constant criticism is rooted in pride, fear, or resentment. It doesn't seek to build, it seeks to control. It's a reflection of inner turmoil projected outward. Oh yeah. It's a reflection of all the problems, soul and body. When someone constantly finds fault with others, they miss out on the beauty of grace and the potential for connection. No one is perfect, and everyone has areas where they can improve. A wise person understands this and chooses to focus on strengths rather than weaknesses. They offer words of support and encouragement, knowing that these have far greater power than words of judgment. Criticism may sting, but encouragement can heal. Wisdom seeks to bring healing, not harm. It's also important to recognize how constant criticism affects the person offering it. Carrying a critical spirit weighs you down. It keeps you in a negative mindset, always looking for what's wrong instead of appreciating what's right. This mindset can rob you of joy and peace, keeping you stuck in a cycle of dissatisfaction. Life becomes a series of complaints, and you miss the blessings and opportunities right in front of you. Breaking free from a critical mindset starts with self-reflection. Ask yourself, why do I feel the need to criticize? Often it's because we're projecting our own insecurities or frustrations. When we address what's within us, we're less likely to lash out at others. It's about shifting from judgment to compassion, from finding fault to offering grace. This shift not only improves relationships, but also brings a sense of peace and fulfillment. People are drawn to kindness, understanding, and support. When you choose to be someone who uplifts rather than tears down, you become a source of light in a world that desperately needs it. Let go of the habit of constant criticism, and you'll find that life becomes richer, relationships deepen, and your own growth accelerates in ways you never imagined. Another characteristic that reflects a lack of insight is the tendency to argue about everything. People who constantly engage in arguments often do so not to seek truth or understanding, but to prove a point or assert dominance. This behavior can be exhausting for others and ultimately damaging to relationships. Instead of fostering meaningful connections or growth, unnecessary arguments create division and conflict, robbing everyone involved of peace and progress. The need to argue often stems from a deep-seated insecurity. When someone feels the constant need to be right, it's often because they tie their worth to their opinions. Winning an argument becomes a way to validate themselves. But in doing so, they lose sight of what truly matters: harmony, respect, and understanding. It's possible to win an argument and still lose something far more valuable: a friendship, trust, or an opportunity to learn. Wise individuals understand that not every disagreement needs to be a battlefield. They recognize that there's strength in knowing when to walk away or let something go. It takes humility to admit that not every opinion needs to be defended, and maturity to choose peace over proving a point. In fact, some of the most powerful moments in life come when we decide to listen rather than argue, to understand rather than insist. Engaging in constant arguments also blinds people to the beauty of diversity. We're all unique, shaped by different experiences and perspectives. What works for one person might not work for another, and that's okay. Wisdom is found in embracing this diversity, in appreciating different viewpoints rather than feeling threatened by them. When someone argues incessantly, it often reveals an inability to accept or respect these differences. It creates a world that feels small and hostile rather than expansive and inviting. He became bigger so that perhaps he was in Palestine. Another pitfall of constant arguing is the toll it takes on one's energy and focus. Life is too short and precious to waste on unnecessary conflict. Every minute spent arguing could be spent building something meaningful, nurturing relationships, or pursuing personal growth. People who constantly argue often find themselves drained, stuck in cycles of negativity, and unable to move forward. It's like running on a treadmill, spending energy but getting nowhere. Choosing not to argue doesn't mean you don't stand up for what's right or express your beliefs. It means you're selective about where you invest your energy. It's about knowing the difference between battles worth fighting and those best left alone. Sometimes the greatest strength lies in restraint, in choosing silence over shouting, peace over pride. The habit of arguing about everything isn't just a burden to those around you, it's a burden to yourself. Letting go of the need to argue is freeing. It opens the door to deeper connections, greater understanding, and a more fulfilling life. By choosing to focus on what truly matters and letting go of trivial conflicts, you create space for growth, joy, and the kind of wisdom that brings lasting peace. One of the most telling signs of a lack of understanding is the tendency to never take responsibility for one's actions. Instead of acknowledging their mistakes or shortcomings, some individuals find it easier to blame others, circumstances, or even bad luck. This avoidance of accountability not only stunts personal growth, but also creates a cycle of repeated mistakes. Without taking responsibility, there's no opportunity to learn, improve, or make better choices moving forward. Avoiding responsibility often comes from a place of fear or pride. Admitting a mistake might feel like admitting weakness, but in truth, it's one of the most powerful things a person can do. Taking ownership shows maturity, humility, and a willingness to grow. It says, I value growth over ego. And that's where true progress begins. Not in pretending to have it all together, but in being honest about the areas that need work. When people fail to take responsibility, they often become trapped in a victim mindset. They convince themselves that life is happening to them, that they are powerless to change their circumstances. But the truth is, taking responsibility is empowering. It shifts the narrative from, I can't do anything about this, to, I have the power to make things better. I think it's not about assigning blame. It's about stepping into your own strength and realizing that you can shape your future no matter what has happened in the past. This refusal to accept responsibility can also strain relationships. No one enjoys being around someone who constantly deflects blame. It creates frustration and resentment as others are left to pick up the pieces or bear the weight of an issue that wasn't theirs to begin with. Healthy relationships require mutual accountability, where both parties are willing to admit when they're wrong and take steps to make amends. Without this, trust erodes and connections become fragile. Taking responsibility is not just about admitting fault. It's also about owning your successes. When you take responsibility for your actions, you begin to see how your efforts and decisions contribute to the positive outcomes in your life. It reinforces the belief that you have agency, that your choices matter, and that you're capable of achieving great things. It's a shift in mindset that turns every challenge into an opportunity to grow stronger. Those who refuse to take responsibility miss out on this powerful transformation. They remain stuck repeating the same mistakes and wondering why their lives never seem to improve. But when you decide to own your actions, a remarkable thing happens. You begin to see the patterns, the lessons, and the possibilities that were hidden before. You realize that every setback is a setup for a comeback. That every mistake carries a lesson that can propel you forward if you're willing to learn. Responsibility isn't just a sign of wisdom, it's a pathway to freedom. It allows you to release the weight of blame and step into a life of intention and purpose. When you take ownership of your actions, you unlock the door to growth, healing, and a future filled with possibilities you never thought were possible in life. Recognizing the signs of unwise behavior is a vital step toward self-awareness and growth. It's not about labeling or judging others, but about reflecting on our own actions and ensuring we strive for wisdom, understanding, and a deeper connection with the world around us. When we avoid responsibility, dismiss learning opportunities, or resist change, we limit our potential. But when we embrace accountability, humility, and a willingness to grow, we open the door to transformation. The path to wisdom is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about recognizing areas where we can improve and taking intentional steps to become better versions of ourselves. True wisdom comes when we choose to rise above our limitations, seek understanding, and live with purpose and integrity. Let's commit to that journey, knowing that with every step, we're building a stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled life.